Welcome back to more Investigations Collection. We're in the middle of the kidnapped Turnabout. Here we go. March 13th, 2:23 p.m. Wild Wild West area. Looks like we got the boot again. With Lance safe, the focus of the investigation will shift solely onto the murder. You mean the infighting between the kidnappers? Yes, and also the identity of the remaining kidnapper. Miles, my boy! Tell me it's true! Tell me that you've really found my boy! Yes, Mr. Romano. We found him earlier in the stadium. And my little Lance is unhurt? He's not exactly the picture of perfect health, but his life is not in danger. He's being questioned right now by Agent Lang. Poor Lance. It must have been so horrible for him. Locked up like a... Okay. Oh, we're back to just being able to walk around. Okay, cool. We can talk to you again. Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Good work, officer. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth. I thought you wanted to talk with Mr. Romano and Miss Pops. I do. Perhaps I should start with them before I do anything else. Oh, okay. Thanks, game, for pushing us in that direction. Well, let's talk to them. Let's talk to you first, Lauren. First, have a look at my badge. Do you know what this is? It's a prosecutor's badge. I'm not a bad person, and I'm not out to seduce you. Come on. Won't you talk? No, you're showing that to me to lord over me with how much authority you have. Well, I will not be bullied. You should be ashamed of yourself, you evil man. How should I repent in order for this woman to talk to me? She doesn't want to talk, huh? Well, I haven't even tried yet, really. Let's see. Lance Romano. He loves me. He loves me not. He loves me. He loves me not. Oh, that's the 12th one. Wait. Is she licking her ring pop to get an answer out of that? And also, is this simultaneously a reference to the how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop thing? No, you can't give up, Lauren. Just one more try. Excuse me, but I can't help but feel a bit sorry for all the flowers you've gone through. Oh, it is a flower. Okay. She's just not actually holding it. We just have to sit there and imagine her holding a flower. I suppose if they were me, then... I believe you said that you are Lance's girlfriend when we first met, correct? Yes, I am, but... Oh, it's not like we both think of each other as lovers. But he did give me this ring, so I guess we're not just friends, either? I mean, because this isn't just any ordinary ring. It tastes so sweet when you lick it. Ah! It's so wonderful. You mean to tell me that he gave you a lollipop ring? So which is it? Have you guys not decided if you're going out, or is it just one-sided? Decided? Shouldn't the parties involved naturally just know? My father used to work for Mr. Romano. And so Lance and I grew up together. Oh, I said it out loud! I don't see how that's anything to be embarrassed about. So your father was an employee of the Amano group? What did he do? I heard his job was to fly around the world on Pegasus. Pegasus? Oh, Pegasus was the name of the airplane. The airplane belonged to the company. Okay. You had me there for a second. But now it's all changed. My father, he isn't around anymore. Oh, I see. About 10 years ago, he rode in Pegasus off to somewhere and never returned. Oh, so he just, like, went out for Greek cigarettes? Riding Pegasus to whereabouts unknown. Well, sounds like the stuff legends are made of. It's been so long, I don't think I'd recognize him if we were to ever meet again. Oh. That is such an obvious setup that it's the butler, right? 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 I'm so sorry, Lauren. But I won't give in to the sadness. I have to live. Yes, Lauren, live! About the case. About this incident. Incident? But isn't the kidnapping already over and dealt with? I've been here the whole time, so I'm afraid I don't know much about any other incident. How did you come to know that Lance had been kidnapped? Oh, that's because of my woman's intuition. You based everything on that? I know everything when it comes to my lance. It's really strange. It really must be destiny. She started fantasizing again. Alright, so... Do you have... Actually, look at this. You wouldn't recognize this guy if we showed him to you? Let's see. About what we found when we examined the victim. Ah! You big bully. I can't believe you'd show me something so gruesome. But I have to admit, I kind of like that mavericky aura around him. Oh, Lauren, are you becoming bad as well? She's off in La La Land again, I see. This woman is insane and I love it. Alright, the victim's costume. I guess there's not much else. I'll talk to you later. Let's talk to you. First, check out the badge. Seeing that badge reminds me of Manfred. Now he was one fine prosecutor, the best of the best. Yes, I can't disagree with you there. I sense that you don't really want to talk about him. How I feel about him, it's hard for me to be truthful about that with another person. Your hard countenance. I don't know what you're thinking or feeling, but mark my words, I think you are Manfred's true successor. I really do. Alright. Lance Amano. Miles, my boy, I can't thank you enough. It was nothing. I'm still in shock over what happened to Oliver. But I have to say, I'm relieved that Lance is all right. Oh, that's right. I mustn't forget to pass this on to Lance as soon as the police are finished with him. A letter? What letter? The way Lance is being chased after by women reminds me of someone I know. I almost can't believe he received yet another love letter, you know? Here, take a look for yourself. Isn't this a breach of confidentiality? It's a very simple love letter. That's, a creepy letter. Wait, the Tender Lender Loan Company? Oh no! My dear Lance Amano, may I come see you again, your beloved Viola? Not her! Oh no! Lance is in trouble. Oh, hey, let me see. That's really weird. It's from a loan company, Tender Lender. Looks more like a collection bell to me. Love letter data jotted down in my organizer. So what are you gonna do now, Mr. Edgeworth? We already established that there's a good chance that the killer is the other kidnapper. It's my duty to figure out who this other person is. I believe there is one location that might hold a clue or two. We've been to the crime scene. Well, we don't even know what the kidnapper's hideout is, right? The isolation room. The place where we were held as prisoners. Hold it, don't let me in with you. I can't allow you to slander my good name as a great thief by saying I got captured. Not being able to escape from somewhere qualifies you as a caged bird, okay? Besides, we checked that place out pretty well while we were there, remember? Don't you think it'd be an even better idea to check somewhere else? Perhaps you are right. What I really need right now are leads to the killer's identity. I believe there is one location that might hold a clue or two. So it's not the isolation room, okay. Well, didn't we already well, wait. Well, we know the crime scene isn't there, but Long's right there. We can't go there. So the hideout? The obvious location is the kidnapper's hideout. But we're still not allowed in, remember? Agent Long and his men should be done with this area. In that case, there's no harm in asking that officer over there to let us in. The one in blue? Okay. Let's do it. What do you have to report? Sir, nothing unusual or out of the ordinary, sir. Where have I heard such redundancy before? Is it possible for you to let us take a look around inside? Sir, Roger, sir. That was surprisingly hassle-free. Are you certain? Didn't Agent Long order you not to allow me in? Sir, that's true, sir, but Detective Gumshoe asked me personally to let you in, sir. And I couldn't refuse a request from him. Wow, looks like Detective Gumshoe has a following. Furthermore, I was asked to give this document to you, sir. What is this? The man in this picture... Isn't that Mr. Oliver Deacon? Colin Deveray. Aha! But the name here says Colin Deveray. that's the same name as the one on the back of the pendant. It appears that Colin Deveray was his real name. What's this? He was convicted in a case 10 years ago and sent to prison. What? Then what was he doing here? Apparently he broke out of jail and then just vanished. He must have become Oliver Deacon to cover up the fact that he was an escaped felon. Colin Deveray dossier. Data jotted down in my organizer. Okay, now I'm not sure what's going on anymore. Is there some sort of link between the victim's past and this current case? These police documents are rather detailed. I should take the time to give them a thorough read, eventually. It's fine. Let's focus on one thing at a time, starting with the kidnapper's hideout. Yeah, I agree. We should investigate first, think later. More than thinking things through, I think you should try remembering things first. Now then, if you could please unlock the door, officer. It was locked up until a little while ago, but since then, the door has been wide open, sir. I'm not sure I follow what it is you're saying. Care to explain in a bit more detail? Sir, the door was locked down tight when they went to check out the room. So they got about 10 officers to help out and break the door down, sir. I see. I guess that means I get Agent Long's leftovers. Well, let's see what we find. Oh, I kind of wanted to go back out and ask those two about Mr. Deveray. March 13th, 2:55 p.m., the kidnapper's hideout. So this is where the kidnappers planned their foul deed. While you were tied up for a while in the room next door. Hey, please. Must you bring that up again? Now then, down to business. There might still be some clues left in this room. Let's try to find out what we can of the other kidnapper's identity. Alright. This door is thoroughly broken thanks to the police who forced it open. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. That's... Oh! I see this. Looks like a sword. A broken sword. Hey, that's a video game. Strange. Why would it be broken like that? I wonder. A broken prop sword. Swords don't usually break on their own. That's true. Alright then, let's think about it in this way. Maybe it broke when someone was trying to use it for or on something. Hypotheticals aren't going to get us anywhere. Perhaps we should think more on this later. And then the broken door. That doorknob handle thingy is looking pretty beat up. I suppose that's what happens when 10 officers break their way in with brute force. Hey, that's odd. The lock on this is completely fine. Look, not a single dent. But how is that possible after what that officer told us? Yeah, if the lock had been in use when the door was busted down, then the lock itself should be completely wrecked. So the lock on the door leading to the outside is undamaged. How can that be? We have another clue there. Oh, they have barrels like these just outside. Yes. And? Well, I know I already asked you when we were out there, but if these were real, what would you put in them? There's an expectant gleam in her eyes that I'm not about to dash. That I am about to dash. He would put, nothing, and he would throw them at plumbers. Let's see. The panel that hid the entrance to the underground is propped up and wide open. Be careful of where you step, Kay. I only fell into that other opening once, you know. Of course. Alright. Do we have any logic? Oh, wait a minute. Yes. Because if the door had to be forced, but the lock is intact, the sword was closing the door, right? That seems like an easy one. Yeah. It's a bit strange the police had to force their way into an unlocked room. One look at the pristine door lock and anyone can see that it was not in use at the time. But the policeman outside said that it took 10 men to get it open. A door that was locked tight, despite it being not locked at all. It can only be because of this. Oh, you mean... Yes, it was used to jam the door. Here, take a look at the door handle. Do you see how the handle is completely destroyed? So that's how the sword broke. Aha! Cool. That's good to know. What else do we have going on here? This must be where they dispose of old and worn-out costumes. That's so sad. It would seem that they throw the costumes away in pieces. Aha! Hey, is that the evil badger who has a gun? And there's a rip where the hand is? Alright, what do we got? That's the other room. Beyond this door is where the kidnappers held you after getting the jump on you. Must you keep reminding me? But it's the room where I got to see your awesome Nyo face! You didn't need to remind me of that mortifying moment either. I didn't know Edgeworth had a Nyo face. I won't rest until I have inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. We got 3 coffee cups that are filled. Cheap styrofoam cups. Looks like only 3 cups were used. 3, huh? Interesting. And they're all full. Why is that? I wonder what this key is to. You got me. It reminds me of the key we found in the other room. That's it! This must be the key for one of those trapdoors. That wasn't a trapdoor. You only call it one because you quite literally jumped into it. Hey, but isn't that what you're supposed to do when you see one? I am not having this conversation with you. Alright, then we got the coffee machine, we got the folding chairs. 3 folding chairs, 3 coffee cups. Now that's interesting. Well, let's look. Folding chairs, and by the looks of it, they were probably used by the kidnappers. There were 3 chairs set around the table. Yeah, what's that about? What about here? A poster of Gatewater Land is stuck on this wall. Intrigue, fun, prestige. Gatewater Land has it all, and it's waiting for you. It's not especially catchy, is it? Not really. I mean, it's a theme park based on a hotel. That's already kind of a weird experience, you know? Let's see. 3 folding chairs, 3 cups, 2 scoops. I think that's worth looking at. The common denominator between the cups and folding chairs is the number 3. Speaking of which, the number of missing costumes is also 3. Wait, but I thought there were only 2 kidnappers. Indeed. Something isn't adding up. Literally. Is it possible there is a 3rd kidnapper that Lance didn't see? I thought that we might uncover the true identity of the kidnappers, but instead we've only uncovered more questions that need to be answered. Ah! What is it? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, am I correct? What are you doing suddenly popping out of the secret entrance like that? This is an underground passage used by staff members, sir. We Badgers also make use of it in our duties. Look, why don't you get out of here there first, and then we'll talk, okay? I beg your pardon, miss. Who's this now? Proto-Badger get! Alright, only 1 more to go. What are you getting all excited about? Did you forget? The photo rally, duh. See, look, now all I have to do is get a picture of the bad badger, and I am done. Ah, yes, I vaguely recall a contest or something of that sort. Who's in there? Where'd you go? What? What? It's gone. But where did it go? What happened? What's wrong? A bad badger costume is missing, sir. Oh, is that all? Well, it's missing because the kidnappers stole it. I heard about how they were stolen, but they said that only 3 of the costumes had been taken. What? Is he saying that more than 3 of them are gone? Mr. Proto-Badger, please tell me a little more about these costumes that you use. Hang on a second. This isn't the bellboy, is it? Because that would be amazing. I'll talk to you in a second. Hang on. Hey, there's a trapdoor in this room, too. Hello. It's not a trapdoor, it's an entrance to an underground passage, okay? I know that. The door leading to the outside world was locked. So Lance must have escaped his prison through here. Okay. It's the bellboy. It is the bellboy. Oh, no. What did you mean by a bad badger costume is missing? Why, just what I said, sir. We are one bad badger short. Oh, he's even doing the bellboy thing. Yes, he is. Counting the spares, we have 2 of each costume on hand at all times. Okay, so because one of them is walking around in the park, the other should be in that room. Actually, both of them should be in that room. Huh? What do you mean? Normally, we don't use the bad badger costumes. In fact, we only use them during a certain event at a set time each day. It's the stage show where the bad badger wreaks havoc around the park, and the other badgers must work together to apprehend him, sir. I'm speechless that such a show exists. Well, sir, I was just trying to explain to you the only time we use that costume. Then doesn't that make it near impossible to take a picture of the bad badger? Personally, I can't believe that it's this close to showtime and there's no costume. Oh dear, what am I to do, sir? All this basically means is that the kidnappers stole 4 costumes in total. Then are you saying that there are 4 kidnappers? No, I don't think that's very likely. Oh? Recall the costumes for a minute. The stolen ones, you mean? What proves that a 4th kidnapper does not exist? Well, the fact that there's a pink badger costume still? It's weird seeing this sprite drawn. I personally did... Well, yeah, like, I played the sprite version, too, back on the... was it the DS? Yeah, it was regular DS. Totally played it on a DS, did not play it on an emulator. But yeah, I had the sprites in the older backgrounds, too. If you had 4 people, and you wanted to steal a 4th costume, wouldn't you naturally go for the full set and steal a pink badger costume instead? Yeah, that makes sense. And yet, the kidnappers decided to steal another bad badger. I believe the culprits needed 2 bad badger costumes, but the question is, why? You want to be a pink badger? I bet they make costumes. 4th costume. Nice. Interesting. Well, thank you, Bellboy. By the way, shouldn't I know you because you bring me tea? But, I don't know. Let's see. Watch out, Mr. Edgeworth. It's a broken mirror. It probably came from the haunted house. Why is this here? Are they planning to repair it? Good question. What about this? A sign advertising the photo rally. Something that is no longer able to be completed. Aw, I can't believe there's no bad badger. And what are they going to do about the badger stage show today? I'd think they would cancel it due to the ongoing murder investigation. Well, if we hurry up and solve it, the show may still go on. Sure, and if we solve it fast enough, I might be willing to fill in the bad badger role. Really? By commanding Detective Gumshoe to do it. Of course he would. Of course he would. I love how they made an entire case of a walkie-talkie shirt. Oh, yeah! I forgot it. Yeah. Yeah. Walkie was an interesting character. All right. A sign advertising the photo rally. Things will be completed. Hang on a second. Why is that still showing up? Is that a bug? Still showing up as investigatable. All right. Or am I just not looking at this right? No, it's definitely, okay, cool. Do I have any more logic to logic? Okay, costume pieces. Unaccounted for bad badger. Easy. Easy. GG, easy, no logic read. The second bad badger costume, I believe it may be closer at hand than we think. What do you mean? That costume in the trash. Wouldn't you say that it's wearing some very telltale pants? Hey, you're right. Let's get it out of there and take a look. As I suspected, it's a bad badger costume. Well, minus the head. I won't rest until I've inspected. Yeah, you know. Alright, let's look around. To be honest, most people say the first Ace Attorney Investigations game is bad, unless they say it is good. Yeah, it's, It's kind of like, I would say it's kind of like a middling Ace Attorney game. Like, I like it. It's very fan service full, you know, and I think they really rode on the fact that you get to play as Edgeworth, which is really cool. Comparing the two, Investigations 2, like, again, it has been a very long time, probably 10 years since I played Investigations 2, but, like, that game's story is so good that it eclipses this game pretty hard. All right. Deduce, because there's a big hole there, right? Or should I investigate first? Yeah, let's investigate first. Look, its hand is hurt. It looks more like something was ripped off of it. Yeah. I wonder why this bad badger costume's right hand is torn up like that. Maybe it's a flesh wound from a fight with the blue badger. I always knew the blue badger was one ferocious beast. It's not a honey badger. I somehow doubt that even real badgers are as bloodthirsty as that, Kay. I don't know, I remember that meme. There are 3 folding chairs over on this side. I can't say they were arranged nearly as nicely as their siblings to the right. You think so? I think they're just fine, like a bunch of used chairs ought to be. I'm beginning to think you must keep a most chaotic room. Hey, don't slander and sigh at me all in one shot. Alright, so we have a gun. Speaking of bad, the sad thing about Justice for All is good, but compared to others, it isn't too good. Yeah, I mean, the second case of Justice for All is pretty good. Case 4 is one of my favorite cases in the series, and many people's. I mean, they made a play out of it. Oh, you didn't like Spirit of Justice. Interesting. Okay. I personally thought Spirit of Justice's plot was overall pretty good. I liked Kurine and the stuff that happened there. It was a gigantic retcon to everything we knew about Apollo up to that point, but I thought they made it work fairly well. Here we go. Unused folding chairs lean against the wall in their folded state. The ones over by the table probably came from this stack. Alright. See, the only one I have not played is the Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton game. Alright, let's see. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Is it? Not the sword. No. We don't seem to have anything just yet. Now the main reason Ace Attorney is known, though, is because of Spirit of Justice Turnabout Storyteller's Cult. I remember when Twitter, yes, got a light because of that. Yes, I remember that. Can we... Hang on. Can we deduce... There we go. He's got a gun. Can we do that? I believe what we have here is an inconsistency. Between what? Look carefully. Our costume is not holding something in its right hand that it should be. Oh, the gun. Precisely. The Bad Badger was designed to always hold a gun in his right hand. However... You there! Did you remove the gun from this Bad Badger's right hand? No, I did not, sir. The gun is supposed to be securely attached to the costume. As I thought. The rip itself confirms my hypothesis that the gun was forcibly removed. Mr. Proto-Badger, the gun is, of course, not a functioning weapon, correct? I like how he calls these badgers by their name. He's so polite. Absolutely not, sir. It's just a model gun. However, it can fire blanks. We need to use them for the stage show. It seems that our kidnappers also had a need for the model gun, my dear costumed friend. Ah, so I think I said this last time, but I wondered if the Bad Badger was holding a gun that was a real gun. And that might be right. He doesn't have the second biggest American stereotype, yes. Well, this is very American, obviously. I think we're about done with this room. So what's next? Well, we found a few answers, but there are still a few things left that we have to ask a certain person about. Let's go, okay? Like how Miles was talking and Kay was staring at the costume like, can I steal that? Yes. Yeah, they're just going to throw it out anyway. Why not? March 13th, 3:34 p.m. Wild Wild West. Mr. Gumshoe, or Mr. Edgeworth, sir. I said Gumshoe. You gotta hurry, sir. Come on. What is it, detective? They found a blue badger costume down in front of the main gate, sir. What? Isn't that what one of the kidnappers was wearing? Bingo! And that's why you gotta come to the main gate with me right now. If we hurry, we still might be able to get there before Wolf Boy does, sir. All right, let's make haste to the main gate. Gumshoe, he did. He got confused. Oh, yeah, the only one with pennies, yeah. Yeah, I like how the series just, like, continually starts getting more and more obviously Japanese as it goes on. Well, like the one case, the Spirit of Justice case, where it's like, hey, yeah, we're totally gonna do Japanese theater here in California. Where's the costume, Detective Gumshoe? Just on the other side of the fountain, sir. There it is. Was it out here in the open all along? Hey, what's that in there? No, it was discovered in the tall grass back there, along with some Pokemon. We moved it out here in order to examine it more thoroughly. Then let's get down to it. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Yes. Alright, what's this? It's the Blue Badger's body section. What a waste. How so? Going through all the trouble to steal this costume, only to throw it away in the end? A real thief wouldn't do such a thing. Nope, no way. I wouldn't think a real thief would steal something so gaudy to begin with. I want to imagine in the Haunted Mansion is a vase. Oh, this headpiece. This must be the Blue Badger Officer Meekins crossed paths with. Oh, the nerve of someone throwing a Blue Badger away like this! I worked so hard to create this character! It's like my baby! How could someone do this, sir? How? Detective, how about channeling your anger towards finding the culprits? Good idea. Oh, wait until I get my hands on... So who are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Why don't you try figuring out yourself for a change? Wait a minute, I thought the police captain of Gumshoe's precinct came up with the Blue Badger. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while. Let's see. What do we have here? Oh, it's another pendant. That's 2 treasures in one day. How lucky is that? And hey, this pretty baby's made of platinum silver, too. Another pendant on top of the one we found on Mr. Deacon. Is it possible that these two... Hold it right there! Yep. It's Mr. Long. Hands off, Mr. Prosecutor! You sure know how to cross the line, don't you? A pendant, huh? This is a very decisive piece of evidence. How can you tell? Look here and read off what you see. Lauren? Hey, it's a name that's engraved on this. Lauren D. Oh. His baby made me turn a vase for 9 hours. Oh man, I haven't, like, it's been a while, but I remember on stream it took me forever to get that vase correct when I streamed it last year. Miss Pops' pendant data jotted down in my organizer. Aha! We have you now, Miss Kidnapper! No, you don't understand. Lolly, can't be you were one of my kidnappers. Lance? You're kidding! Miss Pops was one of the kidnappers? Yes. It was me. I held Lance hostage. So Miss Pops is one of the kidnappers. But even knowing that, I can't call this case solved. Or over. Hey, guys! Case closed! The duality of man. Get the car ready. And I mean the special one for this young lady. Again, Mr. Prosecutor. What is it this time? Are you proposing that Miss Pops is also the culprit in the murder case? What happened? I thought Officer Meekins was your suspect. Oh, it's getting sassy.
We found it.
Found what?
That officer's gun. He literally dropped it in the middle of a thick patch of grass, along with some Pokemon. Your country's police are a sham. Just look at how careless they are. Who are you calling a sham? The officer's gun didn't show signs of having been fired, so it can't be the murder weapon.
So Officer Meekins has been cleared of all charges, I see.
And that's when a brand new suspect comes walking onto the scene. The murder only happened because the kidnappers started fighting amongst themselves. As I recall, it was you who said that, right, Mr. Prosecutor?
Miss Pops, did you really kill Mr. Deacon? Yes, I killed him. I can't believe it!
Thanks for the confession!
Agent Long, it's much too early to declare this case closed.
Oh, look at you, so sure of yourself. We've got the culprit's own confession and some very incriminating evidence. What more could you ask for?
Miss Lauren Pops?
Yes?
I want to hear it from you. Tell me your side of all that has happened today, from the kidnapping to the murder.
But why? I'm a kidnapper and the killer. Isn't that enough?
It's fine if you're the one behind everything, but only if that is the truth. Now then, will you tell us the truth? Or is there some reason why you can't? Do I remember the... Not really. Yeah, the details of this is very murky to me. I remember the final culprit of this whole game, though. Man, that guy takes forever.
I've had a change of heart. I think I'd enjoy seeing you sulk away as the losing mutt. All right, you heard me. Let's hear about all the evil deeds you committed today.
Miss Pops's confession. The one who came up with the kidnapping plan was the butler, Mr. Deacon.
We knew that we could get rich by holding Lance hostage. Mr. Romano would pay anything to get his son back, after all. Everything was going according to plan, but as soon as we got the money, Mr. Deacon turned on me and tried to kill me.
There. Are you satisfied? She just confessed to her crimes a second time. At least you have the guts to admit what you've done. I could at least respect that much.
Miss Pops, is what you said really the truth?
Yes, it is.
If that is the truth, it certainly isn't the whole truth. Because there's something that seems a bit too improbable in her confession.
I bet there is.
Miss Pops's confession. See, the one who came up with the kidnapping plan was the butler, Mr. Deacon. How well did you know the victim?
I've spoken with him only a few times at Lance's house.
A few times? That's it?
Yes.
If they only met a few times, I don't see how they could have trusted each other. But if you hardly ever talk, then how could he trust you not to steal his plan?
That's completely irrelevant. He was planning to betray her from the very beginning, which is why he chose someone he wasn't especially close to. Isn't that right, Sheena?
Yes, however, Mr. Deacon made a very poor choice. In the end, he was killed by the one he intended to betray himself.
Ha! I bet he didn't see that one coming!
We knew that he could get rich by holding Lance hostage. Of course, we've had the tender lender thing, so Lance has a motive too. You knew? How did you know something like that?
Oh no. What should I do?
Kay, what's wrong with her now?
Come on, isn't it obvious? You're making your scary face again. That's why.
Why don't you try asking her in a nicer, more gentle way?
No, stop it, Lauren. You're always like this. You always fall for the stern-looking one. That's why you'll always be unhappy!
Or maybe that's it. She's been bewitched by your icy glare. Mind your own business, Kay. Now then, Miss Pops, let's continue with your testimony.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, no. Stupid Bishonen Edgeworth. You got your Bishonen makeover in this game? You're not so pudgy looking and weird. Mr. Amano would pay anything to get his son back.
Why did you believe that?
Anyone who knows Mr. Romano would think the same. I bet Lance is that old man's greatest treasure.
I suppose he would be to a doting father like Mr. Romano.
I always figured that was it too, and I was always envious of Lance for it. Oh, because your dad's... I got this pendant from my father, and I believe that as long as I have this, I'll find my father again someday. He'll welcome me into his arms, riding on the back of Pegasus.
That pendant.
She must truly believe it to be the wings of Pegasus.
Ah! I think we got a lead there. We're setting up for a Pops versus Old Bag showdown. That's right, for the affection of Miles. Would you mind telling us a little about the plan itself?
Well, first we captured Lance. Oh, how did you do that? Well, Mr. Deacon did that on his own, so I don't quite know. Ah, and here I thought you knew how to steal people away.
I shudder to think what she would do with such knowledge.
Sorry, I really don't know, but somehow Mr. Deacon was able to contain him. All we had to do after that was wait for the ransom to be paid, but...
Fun fact, there are only 40 characters in Ace Attorney Investigations 1.
Really?
Huh. That's interesting. Mr. Deacon turned on me and tried to kill me. Why do you think he did?
I have no idea, but maybe he had planned on doing so from the very beginning.
Miss Pops. Wait, Mr. Deacon planned to kill Miss Pops from the very beginning? Please do your voices for each of them now. Yeah, we'll do that at the end credits. That's when I have to, like, go through every single voice in rapid succession. Wait, Mr. Deacon planned to kill Miss Pops from the very beginning. There is one more character in Ace Attorney Investigations 1 than Dee Dee. Oh, really? Okay. Was that ever really likely to happen? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Yes. I'm sorry, but I don't think what you just claimed is all that likely. Huh? I don't think Mr. Deacon would have ever been capable of killing you.
But why? We were total strangers. Not uncommon for people to kill each other over money.
Miss Pops, you really are clueless, aren't you?
What do you mean?
You never knew what your role in the kidnapping was, nor do you know who you really are. But I do, and I can show you with this piece of evidence. This proves that Mr. Deacon wouldn't have been able to bring himself to kill Miss Pops. Mr. Deacon's pendant.
Why are you showing this to me?
So what about the pendant?
This horse pendant, along with this piece of evidence, shows you who you really are. The wings. These two pendants resemble each other, wouldn't you agree?
Hey, you're right! They're the same color, and they're even made of the same material.
I believe that these two pendants are actually one. Shall we give it a try?
Wow, it's totally Pegasus. But why? Why does my pendant match up with Mr. Deacon's?
You're a smart lady. I'm sure you can imagine why that might be.
What? No, that can't be!
So the two make a set. They're just another trinket. It's not as though this changes anything.
You lack imagination, Agent Long. Very well. I'll show you with this evidence. This is the piece of evidence that gives meaning to the Pegasus pendant. Is it Colin Devereaux's dossier? Oliver Deacon was just an alias for this man. His real name was Colin Devereaux, the name that is etched on the horse pendant.
What? An alias?
I suppose he had to hide the fact that he was a felon somehow in order to live. And it makes sense, given what is written in Mr. Devereaux's dossier. But what I really wanted to point out was this. This specific section is what reveals the true meaning behind the pendants. Hang on. After his escape from Penn Edent prison, stole a gun from guard. We thought he might head for where his wife and sole daughter are. But despite our surveillance, he has yet his sole daughter, right? Mr. Devereaux had one daughter, and her name is Lauren Pops.
That's a lie! That person was not my father!
He couldn't come out and tell you he was your father because he was in hiding. However, I believe he was trying to secretly watch over you. And he's dead now, sorry. Tough luck. Do you still believe that a man like that could kill the daughter he was separated from? Or even that such a man would allow his daughter to get involved in a kidnapping plot? What's so funny, Agent Long?
You're good at making things up in your head and deciding it's the truth, aren't you?
What are you trying to say?
Your thinking is much too innocent. After all, I've thought of another possibility.
Is that so? Well, let's hear it. Oh, face down. Another possibility. There are only 317 characters in Ace Attorney. Really? Interesting. Wow. That simultaneously seems like not a lot, but also a lot.
I'll grant you that the two of them are father and daughter. But isn't it possible that they both knew that fact? It was no coincidence that the reunited pair became involved in the house of Amano. And the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping. Wouldn't you say my scenario is perfectly probable as well?
So this is his version of how things might have been.
You don't have any proof that they didn't know of their true relationship, right?
And you're saying that the two of them committed the kidnapping together?
That's right. As one really rotten family.
Is that what really happened? I'd better take a long, hard look at the evidence. I'll grant you the two of them are father and daughter. Precisely. And what father would ever willingly kill his own daughter?
I've seen a lot of things in my travels, and I can tell you that being related by blood is sometimes proof of nothing.
And isn't it possible that they both knew that fact? You think they knew?
Yeah, I don't think that only the victim knew. I think the girl realized it as well. They both knew who the other person was, but they had to pretend that they didn't.
Because he was on the lam.
You got it. The victim couldn't exactly go around flaunting who he was. Furthermore,
it was no coincidence the reunited pair became involved. One is a butler, and one is the friend of the son, you mean?
They probably thought that was their best shot.
Is that what you honestly believe?
Of course!
And the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping. You mean how they plotted to commit this crime as blood relatives?
Can you think of a better partner? They're certainly a clever pair.
The butler and the girlfriend. No one would ever suspect that they were, in fact, family.
Yes. From the very beginning, they painstakingly practiced those roles well.
And you say my scenario was perfectly probable as well. I believe you're being a bit too overconfident for someone with no evidence.
Am I? Because I don't see you presenting any evidence to the contrary.
Without evidence, we're stuck in a stalemate. Agent Long isn't wrong. His scenario is certainly a probable one. You'd better hurry up and do something, or Lauren's gonna wind up looking really bad. I know, but first things first. Is Agent Lang's line of logic factually correct? Was the crime really committed by the two of them? By this father-daughter pair? Alright, let's look at the evidence real quick here. Let's just review, right? Let's see. Clearly Lauren didn't do it because she literally is incapable of wearing any other costume but the pink badger, because we're going off of the Power Rangers rule. No, I'm kidding. Missing model gun. Just remembered I have a fan-made case and oh yeah, because the maker's out, right? Yeah. Love letter, Colin Deveray. Stole a gun. Got that, sure. The tendered lender. I mean, this one is interesting. So Lance owes Viola Cadaverini money, which is not going to end well for him. Let's see. The victim's costume. The blue badger mobile. The broken prop sword. Right. The pendant. It's nice that we can look at it. So Lauren Deveray, huh? Lauren D is engraved into this pendant. I see that they wrote out her first name, but why just the D? Maybe it's the result of poor planning. I guess. Well, at least if I had to shorten my name, I could make it K. Faraday. That way, even if you just sounded it out, it'd still say my name, K. Faraday. I suppose if I had to do the same, I would also abbreviate it as M. Edgeworth. Hold on, I think you should abbreviate it as M.E. Get it? Ha 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 ha! Who would have thought that this little pendant could have stirred up such a strange conversation? Oh, you have absolute cinema on your hands, eh? Nice! Okay, well yeah, get to working on it. It's a pendant in the shape of a pair of wings. It has a nice aesthetic to it. Hey, nice to see that even you can appreciate its beauty. Things made of platinum silver tend to have a nice feeling about them, you know? I was only talking about its shape, Kay. Oh, is that what you were talking about? But you know, if we're talking about wing shapes, I think the brooch on my scarf is way cooler. But that's not made of platinum silver, is it? It's handmade, okay? So I'm sorry that it's not made of the expensive stuff. She made that by herself? It's incredibly well crafted. Well, that's nice. Gotta head to bed? Okay, well have a good rest. Thanks for coming. Let's see, the pendant. Right, the name Colin Deveray is engraved here. I really admire people who carve their own names into a pendant. Oh, and why would that be? You have no imagination, Mr. Edgeworth. Did you ever think that maybe people want to have their loved ones always nearby? It's not as if I have a wedding band and I have no interest in accessorizing. I suppose. Anyway, you know what? More than wearing flashy accessories, I'd rather be engraving my name into every treasure I can find all around the world. A sign of affection is one thing, but blatant vandalizing is just a bit different. About the front. It's the victim's pendant, which is shaped like a horse. It's got a real dignified look on its face. That makes it worth all the more. Oh no, Mr. Edgeworth! What? Did you find an important piece of evidence? This is made of platinum silver. That makes this thing super valuable. I've seen this type of jewelry at a lot of stores before, so I know it when I see it. Hey, if you ever laid so much as a finger on these pieces of jewelry... What, me? I'd never do something like that. Is it possible that she has never wanted to steal from a jewelry store before? Yeah, Kay, we got our eyes on you. And of course his badge, which is not important. Mr. Deacon, preliminary findings indicate loss of blood from a gunshot wound, the lack of blood. Killed. Yeah. So, alright. Grant you, let's look through the statements and see if any of the evidence contradicts what he's saying here, right? I'll grant you that the two of them are father and daughter, but isn't it possible that they both knew that fact? It was no coincidence that the reunited pair became involved in the house of Amano. And the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping. Alright. Let's see. Isn't it possible they both knew that fact? Is it impossible that they knew that fact? Right? It might be impossible. Let's see. Because her pendant only says Lauren D. His says Colin Deveray. But the pendants are the same. I don't know if that's important or not. Colin Deveray is engraved on the back. Let's see, we have Oliver Deacon was separated from his daughter Lauren Pops, and then we have Lauren Pops, Lance Mama's girlfriend, one of the kidnappers, separated from her real father, who was Deacon, sort of. So what? Then of course we got Emma Sky and the security lady. That's a running gag. They don't even want to call her by her name. The lady inside the pink badger. I believe her real name is Wendy Oldbag. I love it. She might be. I don't know. I don't care. I want nothing to do with this woman. I love it. Is it possible? Alright, what else do we have? The reunited pair became involved in the House of Amano, and the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping. Oh. Oh, hang on. The two of them. But we have been building up evidence that suggests that there were 3 kidnappers. Right? Kidnappers stole 3 costumes, a blue, a proto, and a bad badger. So, and also, remember, I don't think we have it in evidence, right? No. But we had the 3 chairs and the 3 coffee cups. So it's leading toward there being 3 kidnappers. Yes. So is that the best thing we have to go off of? Probably. The stolen costumes? Let's see. Oh. This kidnapping wasn't planned by just 2 people alone.
And what kind of proof do you have of that?
Quite simply, there were 3 kidnappers.
3?
4 costumes were stolen from the Wild Wild West area's back room. We found one of them in the kidnapper's hideout. But as for the other 3, we can assume they were being worn by 3 different people. We also found a set of 3 cups and 3 folding chairs that were used in the hideout. It all clearly points to a 3-man group, and I believe this 3rd person is the real mastermind behind the kidnapping.
Who? Who is this mastermind?
I present to you the brains behind the kidnapping. It wasn't Deacon. Wait. Okay. I'm half the evidence, I'm kind of half remembering how this case went, but the tender lender loan thing, I think Lance did the kidnapping himself. Let's see. Yep. He kidnapped himself.
Lance Amano?
Yes, this abduction was in fact schemed up by Lance himself. Recall what he said when he appeared before us.
Did you see the faces of your kidnappers?
No, I didn't see their faces, but 2. One was a woman.
However, there were 3 kidnappers, which is in direct contradiction to what he said.
But I know I only saw 2 people.
This guy was being held hostage. It's possible he couldn't see all 3 of them.
Ah, yes, about when you were being held. I have my doubts about what happened then. Lance, would you mind telling us what happened while you were being held captive?
I really don't remember much anymore, honest. But if I don't tell you at least something, you won't believe me at all, will you?
Alright. Lance's testimony.
I was kidnapped yesterday morning. They had me shut in that room, blindfolded the entire time. But the kidnappers suddenly disappeared around the time I heard rain falling outside. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could.
Okay.
Through the underground passageway, I presume.
Are you okay?
Sorry, I really didn't want to recall that horrible ordeal, but now you believe me, right?
No, not quite yet.
How can you not? Why do you look at me with icy daggers in your eyes?
Because he's a prosecutor, and because they're all like that.
I'll have you know, Agent Long, a prosecutor's eyes are for discerning the truth. And should they be interpreted to be cruel at times, then so be it. There is a sticking point in Lance's testimony. Let's see what he offers up when I push a little. We got a sticking point, eh? Okay. Lance's testimony. He was kidnapped yesterday morning. Cool. Can you tell us about when you were abducted in a little more detail? It was a strange morning. I felt like I was right in the middle of a great calm. And
where were you when you experienced this calm? Our family garden, of course. Where else could it have been?
Well, excuse me for asking. This child is more princess than prince.
I was out taking a walk to shake off the morning blah. Then, out of the blue, someone from behind clamps a hand over my mouth.
You didn't see your attacker?
They must have used some drug to knock me out. But because before I knew it, I was off in La La Land again. When I woke up, I was in the kidnapper's hideout already, all tied up.
They had me shut in that room. By that room, you mean the room in the kidnapper's hideout, correct?
Yes, but I was blindfolded the whole time, so I didn't know that until I made my escape.
Then you were in the same room as your kidnappers.
They spoke in hushed tones, but I could catch bits of their conversation. It was definitely two people, and one of them was definitely a woman. I was so scared. I could tell they were nearby, so I didn't dare make a move.
But the kidnapper suddenly disappeared. Alright. And me shutting that. Okay. The kidnappers disappeared.
The room fell into sudden silence. I'd been left behind like an unwanted mutt.
And what do you mean by unwanted mutt?
What a pointless question. It's not like he's gonna tell you anything new, you know? It's a poetic simile. You should learn how to use them, too. You may look refined on the outside. The wind blew. But it's no good if you're not refined on the inside as well.
My hands were cuffed, it was a stroke of luck. Then those cuffs on your wrists, I suppose you're still cuffed in that case.
I am well aware of how I am chained to reality. I couldn't find the key, so I'm afraid that I'm stuck like this.
Those look so flimsy, they could just go right off.
Even though I escaped from that jail cell, I will forever be a prisoner.
Ran away from that room as fast as I could. How did you manage to escape?
I wanted to just get out of there, but the door leading outside was locked, which is why I had to use the underground passageway to make my escape.
Now remember our escape to be equally as hard. This is an invaluable piece of testimony. I mustn't let it go unexamined.
So what did he say? So I had to use the underground passageway.
Hang on a second. That seems a little suspicious. Doesn't it? Wait. Statement I didn't mean to do that.
How dare you call me a liar? And in such a loud voice with evidence that doesn't make any sense.
You have no idea how to put two ideas together to make a logical argument, do you?
Ugh, I didn't think my reasoning was as bad as that. Alright. I had to use the underground passageway. I didn't mean... I want to look at it. There we go. Haunted house, Wild Wild West. Well, we found him at the stadium, right? I wish we knew where the underground passageways went. Alright, we found him there. And the costume was missing. Colin Deveray, Blue Badger Mobile. Right. Well, let's press for now. By underground passageway, you mean the one the staff uses to travel unnoticed?
I suppose that's what it's for, but I didn't run into any staff members on my way out. And once I was up top, I was busy trying to find a member of the police.
And that is when you found us congregated at the stadium, I suppose. Let me ask you then, how did you get a hold of the key to the underground door?
That was easy. It was hanging right there in the room on the wall.
I do recall a key hanging on the wall right beside the table. Boy, does that act bring back memories of our situation and how we made our escape. Indeed, and although the door in the floor of our room led to an underground room, the door in the floor of the room next door had a secret passageway. A secret passageway under a theme park? Oh, that just sounds like so much fun. And I wonder, is there something off about the way Lance made his escape? I think there is. Because, let's see. Hang on a second. In that room, my hands were cuffed. Wait. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could. The door leading outside was locked tight. So I had to use the underground pass. Wait. It wasn't locked, though. It was, being held closed by a prop sword. Yeah. It wasn't locked. There we go. You say that the door leading out was locked, but was it really? Yeah, the cuffs came up.
We're talking about that room behind the saloon front, right? Look, I heard that it took quite a few men to get that thing open. Right, Sheena?
Yes, that's correct.
Then take a look at this.
What is that, a sword? It's not an especially reliable one if it's broken like that.
Allow me to start from the end. My conclusion is that that door was never locked. It was simply held shut by this sword, which was used to jam the handle. Lance, even though your hands were cuffed together, you could still use them. If that's the case, then why did you not just simply remove the sword and escape?
Why didn't I? I was disoriented. Yes, that's it. I didn't notice it.
As if I should accept such a bold-faced lie. You locked yourself in that room because you had to make yourself look like the victim. But you did not, in fact, possess the key to the door. That is why you used the prop sword to improvise and create a prison of your very own.
You've been making this guy out to be one of the kidnappers for some time now. I wonder if you've forgotten something very important along the way.
And what would that be?
A motive! What else? Do you honestly think that an upright, pure boy like him would hatch up a completely pointless scheme, such as kidnapping himself?
This proves that Lance did indeed have a motive to commit this crime. It's the tender lender, quote-unquote love letter. To put it simply, Lance has a very urgent need. A need for money. Oh no. For necessities. This is hardly your typical love letter. It is, in fact, a collections bill. Or for you Umineko fans, he needed a lot of money right now. It appears our upstanding boy has accumulated quite a debt. Isn't that right, Lance? Looks like it's hard being the son of a rich man, too. It must be rough when you have to resort to stealing from your old man, huh?
All right, I give up. I abducted myself. Lance!
Wow, that was quick.
It's over, Lolly. In this life, we really are bound to our fates after all. All I wanted was to go with you to a new town, somewhere where no one would know us. I wanted us to be well off with that 1 million, but now that dream is over.
Oh, Lance!
Then you're giving yourself up? Yes. I had planned to run away from this world with my Lolly. Oliver even helped us with the plan, but then he had to go and stab us in the back.
He turned on you.
Maybe he didn't want to split the ransom money. That's my guess. It happened almost right after you made the drop-off. When we were alone, he attacked me all of a sudden. After a brief struggle, I was able to contain him and keep him under control. We left him inside that room as Lolly and I made our escape. We wore different costumes and split up. Lolly left first in the Blue Badger costume. That would mean the person Officer Meekins saw was Miss Pops. But right then, the old man just had to wake up. I was careless, and he tackled me pretty hard from behind. Then, Oliver put on a Blue Badger costume, or Bad Badger costume, took the suitcase with the $1 million, and ran. I contacted Lolly right away and warned her that he had a gun. They had no idea that they were related, so I thought that it could only end badly. I still don't believe it. That person was not my father. Because if he was, I just killed my own father.
Huh?
Lolly, then it really was you?
Oh no. Chain of events. This is getting crazy.
That man was not my father. I mean, because at the stadium, there was a bad badger pulling the suitcase with the 1 million in it. But that badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. That's why I used the gun I got from Lance. There was a gunshot. The other person crumpled to the ground and I ran, scared for my life.
Oh.
I think the big picture is finally coming into focus, don't you?
Lolly, forgive me. I didn't think it would turn into something so frightening. If only I could have protected you. So Miss Pops, she shot her own dad without even knowing who he really was.
If what she says is true. Are you saying she's lying?
But why would she lie about something like that? What purpose would it serve?
You would be surprised how often people lie
without even realizing it themselves, Kay. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? What I mean is, listen very carefully to her confession once more, and you'll see. Yeah, okay. Man was not my father. Please calm down and let's slowly talk through this. But all you have to do is simply tell us what happened at the stadium. Leave it to us to search out the truth. Can you do that for me? Alright, so at the stadium, there was a bad badger pulling the suitcase. That was the ransom money, wasn't it? Yes, that's how I was able to identify Mr. Deacon almost immediately. It was all thanks to what Lance told me. And what did he tell you? Well, he called me on my cell phone and told me that Mr. Deacon had betrayed us and had run off with the ransom money. And about how he had a gun. But that badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. Were you able to clearly see the gun? Yes, I got a very good look at it while it was pointed at me. Oh, Father, why would you try to shoot me? Do you really think a father would shoot his own daughter, Mr. Edgeworth? I don't know. I don't want to believe it myself. But it's true, my father's left arm was raised with a gun in it. Pointed straight at me. I'm about to die, I thought. Miss Pops? Huh? Please calm down and take a deep breath. And then, would you allow me to please hear that last statement one more time? Yes, of course. But that badger pointed the gun in his left hand at me, aiming to shoot me dead. Which hand is the gun in with the bad badger? That's his right hand. There we go. Huh? Miss Pops, this evidence stands in clear contradiction of the statement just now. Huh? Where?
It is not polite to confuse poor helpless girls, Mr. Prosecutor. Until you have something significant to add, stuff that jabbit of yours in your mouth.
Ugh. It's a cravat, and it's a fashion statement, not a gag. I need to calmly listen and then present my evidence. Present the model gun. Is this it? No! It's the hand, right? This is frustrating. It's his left hand. What are we missing here? I'm frustrated. So we have the bad badger, because it's in his... No, I didn't mean to press that, dang it. What about it?
Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I don't think you pulled out the right piece of evidence. Ha ha ha! Wonderful subordinate there, so willing to point out his boss's mistakes.
Detective Gumshoe, you will refrain from excessive talking.
I'll try, sir.
Alright, hang on. Let's slow down here. What do we got? Blue badger, the victim's costume, the love letter. Is there something in here? His dominant hand was right. Okay, so not only is that the gun would be in the bad badger's right hand, but the gun was supposedly sewn into the right hand, because that's the whole thing for the disguise, is that you're holding a fake gun, but it's a real gun. And he was right-handed. So we've been thwarted at presenting the bad badger stuff. So is it the fact that he's right-handed? Yes. Okay, good. I have here a dossier on your father. And according to this, your father was right-handed. Then... The person pointing a gun at you from atop the stage was not Mr. Deacon.
Hold on there, Mr. Prosecutor. I think you need to take a refresher course. The bad badger has a model gun attached to his right hand, which is why the only hand he could have held the real gun with was his left. Isn't it possible that it went down like that?
Agent Long, were you paying attention to what Miss Pops was saying? Then again, I suppose I can't expect someone who has never set foot in court to catch it. Oh, sassy.
Enough with the smugness. Out with it already.
Miss Pops told us earlier. There was a bad badger pulling the suitcase with the 1 million in it. According to you, the bad badger had the gun in his left hand, which would mean that he was pulling the suitcase with his right hand. Is that correct, Miss Pops? Yes, exactly. And I'm sure it was the Bad Badger. It had those huge sunglasses on its face.
But if that's the case, even though I can see there's a huge contradiction.
Yes, Miss Pops claims to have seen the Bad Badger, and yet the Bad Badger had both of his hands full. These two pieces of information contradict each other, so one must be wrong. It wasn't the Bad Badger, both hands were not occupied, both are correct. Both hands were unoccupied. Holding a gun in his right hand as he pulls the suitcase with the same hand. Isn't it possible for a right-handed person to do both things simultaneously? What?
Your deduction is full of one too many conjectures, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor?
Ah! I suppose it is pretty difficult, if not impossible. It would appear that both of the Bad Badger's hands were occupied. These two pieces of information... Wait, it wasn't the Bad Badger? Well, I suppose if it's all based off of, Okay, I mean, it has to be that both hands weren't occupied, but also, it wasn't the Bad Badger. So both have to be correct, I'm thinking. Let's see. They are both correct.
Impossible! That just leaves us with an irresolvable contradiction!
Miss Pops' entire statement rests on the fact that she saw his sunglasses and beard. But what if that Bad Badger wasn't wearing pants on his lower half? This proves that there was a way for the Bad Badger to freely use both of his hands. The gun was missing. Yeah.
Get your head on straight, Mr. Prosecutor. That doesn't show me diddly squat.
I knew it. What I saw was just a mirage.
No. Alright, was it the head? Wait, I can explain. It's the head, right? But the Bad Badger costume was model gun, right, which was what created this contradiction about which hand did what. So it's sunglasses, so it's the head. Wasn't wearing pants, yeah, so it's the head. It's just the head, right? Yes. The costumes have two parts to them, a head and the body.
Oh, I get it now.
The head Miss Pops saw was probably really the head of the Bad Badger. However, it is not possible that the body was that of an entirely different badger.
A different badger?
Yeah, so to put it more bluntly, I believe it was the lower half of this badger. The body of the Bad Badger Miss Pops saw really was... It was the Proto-Badger, right? That's the only one that wouldn't have, Yeah. Because the blue badgers were occupied, the pink badger would obviously be different, so it has to be the Proto-Badger.
What the heck is it?
It's the Proto-Badger. Yes, and it's a simple matter of process of elimination. Miss Pops was wearing the blue badger's costume, so we can eliminate that one. And the pink badger is of the wrong color, which would have been incredibly obvious. All that is left is the Proto-Badger costume. Miss Pops, who was the one who wore the Proto-Badger costume?
That would be Lance.
Uh-oh.
Are you saying what I think you are? That Lance Amano donned the Bad Badger's head and pretended to be Mr. Deacon? On top of which he plotted to shoot Miss Pops while wearing that hideous thing?
The stage that was set up in the stadium was nothing more than that, a setup. And its purpose was to lead Miss Pops into believing she had committed murder. Standing there in front of Miss Pops and pretending to be the victim was all done so that she would pull the trigger.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Why exactly would I have to do all that, huh?
There is but one reason, Lance Amano. You are the real culprit behind the murder of Mr. Oliver Deacon.
What? No! That's slander. Take it back. You take it back right now.
Just out of curiosity, Lance, which is your dominant hand?
I'm left-handed, but what does that have to do with anything?
It depends. According to Miss Pops, her attacker held a gun in his left hand.
Ha! Who is what-handed doesn't prove a thing! And besides, now you're just being absurd. It's not like the Proto-Badger is bulletproof. One misfire and he would have found himself dead, right?
Of course, logically. If he'd been shot, he probably wouldn't be here with us. But I believe he had thought of that as well, and prepared accordingly. And this should be all the evidence you need. This is how Lance made sure that he wouldn't be hit by a bullet. Rotobadger seems like a creature that would get woken up from a centuries-long slumber by some country villagers at the start of a horror movie. Yes! Yes, it does. Oh my gosh, that thing looks horrible. What? Made sure he wouldn't be hit by a bullet. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on a second. I was thinking a little bit too, abstractly. Let's think more obviously. The model gun fires blanks, right? So the gun he gave her fired blanks. So she had a gun that was completely incapable of hurting anybody. Yeah. We found one half of a bad badger costume in the hideout, a broken one. It was not the same one that the victim was wearing. Plus, it was missing something. And that something is the model gun that the bad badger carries, which can fire blanks.
What?
Miss Pops, where is the gun you use now?
I threw it away into the sea.
That makes it a bit tough to verify what it was. Although I believe that we can safely assume that it was the model gun in question.
I've heard enough. All you've been spouting so far is pure conjecture.
I admit that as long as the model gun is lost to us, I can't prove I'm right. However, I can say that the probability that I am right is very high.
Okay, let's pretend that you're right, and that the murder at the stadium was a fabrication. In that case, where do you think the murder really took place, Mr. Prosecutor?
I don't know yet.
Ha! I knew you were full of it!
However, I do believe that the murder took place during an earlier time frame.
Please, wait a second. It's simply not possible. Because I saw Mr. Deacon after he was restrained by Lance.
She saw the victim in the state of being restrained. Uh-oh. Select the Eldritch Invocation that the Badger uses to stop bullets. Yes. What Miss Pops saw. I came back to the hideout after the other two. But at that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. After that, the two of us put on our costumes and made our escape. Wait a minute.
So Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right?
We thought that it'd attract too much attention if we left together, so I left first. We planned to meet up again at the stage in the stadium.
But then, as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone.
Oliver managed to escape. It looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also stole the gun from me at that time.
And then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard their plan to meet up at the stage. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Pops saw the victim with her own eyes, which means that the victim was still alive at that time. Wouldn't you agree?
Why does that sound wrong to me? There must be something amiss about this account. Yeah. Let's see what happens when I examine it in more detail. Yeah. Well, the problem is that, well, let's see. Edgeworth was in that room at that time, right? It wasn't him. What Miss Pop saw. But how do we prove that? Came back to the hideout after the other two. Let's see. When exactly did you arrive back at the hideout?
It was after we had picked up the ransom money.
And where were you up until the time you returned?
I was scouting the park out and making preparations for our escape. I walked around in the various areas looking for the best route.
Ah, so each of them had their own roles to play.
After I was done, I went back to the hideout.
By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. How did Lance look at that time?
He looked shocked. He also looked a little down. When I saw that sadness in his eyes,
Thank you, that's enough for now. And what of Mr. Deacon? What was his situation like? He had tied Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. Okay, there's the problem though, right? But we don't have anything direct yet. You are sure that it was Mr. Deacon that you saw?
Yes, I'm certain of what I saw.
Did you go into the other room to check?
Lance said that it was best if I didn't get too close to him. Lance, he's such a kind soul.
Then are you telling me that you did not confirm that it was Mr. Deacon for yourself?
I checked with the slit in the door that separates the two rooms. He had a bad badger's head on, so I'm absolutely sure. That just had to be Mr. Deacon.
She saw a bad badger head. Oh.
The captive had a bad badger head on, so I'm absolutely sure it was Mr. Deacon.
The bad badger head was left in the room Edgeworth was in. So I think this head was left in the isolation room. Yeah, no, that wouldn't make sense then. Yeah. Miss Pops, the person you saw was not Mr. Deacon at all.
Huh?
The person you actually saw was this person. Lance Amano, K. Faraday. No, it was Miles. It was me.
Huh? The person I saw was you, Mr. Edgeworth?
I always thought it was a bit odd. Why would the kidnappers abduct me even after I had handed over the ransom? It's not as though I saw the faces of the kidnappers. If I were them, I would have just taken the $1 million and ran. But in the end, there was a point to it all. It was to make me look like Mr. Deacon. And if that was the reason for which I was abducted, then I believe we can assume that the victim was already dead at that time. Well, Lance, am I right?
That's...
You showed Miss Pops a person, namely me, with a bad badger's head on. And then made your costume and escape together. Or so you pretended.
Huh? What do you mean he pretended?
Exactly that. I believe Lance watched you escape, and then doubled back to the hideout. Probably to come and remove the bad badger head from my unconscious self. And to create his fake prison with the prop sword, he then escaped via the passageway.
Hold your tongue, boy! Don't get caught up in that tidal wave of words coming out of Mr. Prosecutor's mouth.
Tidal wave?
We've heard a lot come out of you, but I've yet to see a shred of evidence. The victim's betrayal and his subsequent detainment. All of that could have happened while you were out cold.
That's right. You were out for quite a while, Mr. Prosecutor.
Even if that were the case, Miss Pops would still have seen me tied to that beam.
I was scared of Mr. Deacon, so I didn't go into the next room. So I really have no idea if you were in there or not, Mr. Edgeworth.
You see, it would seem that you can't prove a thing. Yeah. Who said that?
Uh-oh.
Please, wait.
Mr. Romano?
Oh, Miles, my boy. It looks like you're really giving it your all. And Lance, it's not good to cause trouble for others.
Dad.
Let's see. You're the one in charge of the investigation, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry that my son has been nothing but trouble. This probably won't make up for anything, but I have some evidence for you.
Oh, do you now? The bad badger? Is that what I think it is?
It's the bad badger costume the victim was wearing. And a gun!
I couldn't wait around for the police, so I went and found these myself. It appears that they were disposed of in the sea.
Is there no one in this country who actually obeys the law?
There, now. Agent Lang, please calm down.
What the heck is that scrap of paper?
This appears to be a letter from the Chief of Police. Please allow Mr. Amano complete freedom to do as he sees fit, it says.
What? The Chief of Police? What the? Just who does he think he is? He was probably going swimming. Oh wait, no, that was the previous Chief of Police.
The person who wields the highest authority in this area.
Oh, there now. There is no need to be so upset. I'm not a cop from this land, so I'm not bound by the laws of your country. Now. This wasn't meant to strong-arm you in anything. It's just a request. I'm only asking that you please respect the laws of the land.
I can't really say no to that. However, returning to the topic at hand, it doesn't matter who found the evidence. Its value remains unchanged.
All right, now, let's take a look at this new evidence.
I've already got the results back. I had a special forensics research lab that I'm on good terms with conduct the tests. They verified that the blood in this costume belonged to Oliver. As for the gun, the only fingerprints they could find were yours, Lauren.
What?
You disappoint me, Miles. I can't believe that you would cause my son such stress and heartache. Thank goodness I was able to find the final pieces of evidence. With this, you'll have no reason left to push my poor boy around.
That's it? These are the case-making pieces of evidence? Ha! I'll be the judge of that. I won't rest until I've inspected every single suspicious-looking cranny. Yes. What is that? What's this? It looks like there's something inside the costume head. Hey, they sparkle. I bet they're really valuable. Sorry, but they're just pieces of mirror. But why are they in here? Yeah. Mirror fragments, jade data jotted down in my organizer. That's interesting. So we have the two guns. We have the gun that is innately in the thing's hand, and then we have the gun that was fired. Could this gun be the actual murder weapon? Yep. This bullet hole. It looks kind of burnt around the edges. Wait, those burn marks were left by the gunpowder. This is a most important fact. Why is that? Because it is proof that the victim was shot at point-blank range. Aha!
Well, are these not the most definitive pieces of evidence you've ever seen?
Thank you, Dad. This should be enough to convince even Mr. Edgeworth over there. Here we go. Decisive evidence, A. Make no mistake, there are fingerprints on that murderous gun, and they prove that it was Lolly who killed Oliver. But Oliver was also after Lolly's life, so Mr. Edgeworth, even you must see that Lolly was only acting in self-defense. The fingerprints on the weapon, huh? Oh no, this isn't helpful at all! Look, Mr. Edgeworth, all I want to do is save Lolly. And in the end, all I can do is watch as she takes the punishment for her crimes. That may be all you can do. However, I still have a case to solve and a job to do. The job of unraveling your insidious lie. You wound me. Why won't you believe me, even in the face of all this evidence? Decisive evidence. Let's see. There are fingerprints on that murderous gun. That's true. Those fingerprints, are you sure they belong to Miss Pops?
There's no mistake about it. Through my connections, I had the best forensics techniques money can buy performed.
I found that to be a bit peculiar.
What? Are you trying to pick an argument with me?
What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Should we raise an objection? Wait a minute. Wasn't she wearing a costume at the time? Let me think about this. Hang on. I don't have access to my evidence. Let's do. Frankly, I don't believe that Miss Pops' print should be on that gun to begin with. And the reason why Miss Pops' print should not be on the gun is it no, not the victim's costume. What do we present here exactly? Oh wait, the stolen costumes, right? Yeah. Wait, yeah. Stolen costumes. Blue Badger equals Lauren Pops, Proto Badger equals Lance Mono, Bad Badger equals Oliver Deacon. So she was wearing a costume at the time, so I mean, it raises the question of how she could have even fired a gun at the time, given I guess they do have 3 fingers, but still. Stolen costumes, yeah. It's simply not possible for Miss Pops to have left any prints on the murder weapon, because while she was at the stadium, Miss Pops was wearing a costume. Huh?
But there's been no mistake. We found fingerprints.
Well, Miss Pops, do you remember touching the gun at all at any time? Yes. As a matter of fact, I did hold it for a bit back in the hideout. Handed it off to Mr. Deacon when he and Lance left for the haunted house. To retrieve the ransom money, I suppose. And there you have it. That is when Miss Pops' prints found their way onto the gun.
Ugh.
Do you understand now, Mr. Romano? The fingerprints do nothing to prove that Miss Pops is the murderer.
But you still don't have anything to prove that she isn't the killer, right? You seem very adamant about insisting that your girlfriend is a cold-blooded killer. Oh, Lance! What? No way! I'm incredibly worried about her. But that doesn't change the fact that you don't have any evidence, right? That's where you're wrong. I have the evidence. What? How? The story that Miss Pops killed the victim at the stage in the stadium. The whole affair is simply not true because that was not the real crime scene, but a setup. This proves that the real murder was not committed at the stadium after all. Oh, the mirror fragments. This, what? No? That's not right? Mr. Prosecutor, I'd have to rate that piece of logic as 0 out of 10. At least a 6.8 out of 10. This rate. I mean, man. Well, what is it? Let's see. There must be something that invalidates it. It was not committed stadium at all. Hang on. Is it... Can we look at the revolver real quick? It's a Colt. It's very obviously one. Let's see. Can't do much. Let's see. They found Miss Pops' fingerprints on this gun. Can you let me hold it for a sec? I shouldn't if you don't know how to handle it. Besides, Miss Pops' prints are on it. Look, I'm wearing gloves. It'll be okay. I just want to take a look, that's all. It's not like I'm gonna run off with it. The only things I don't return are treasures. Stealing either one would land you in a jail, you know. Okay, so we can't really say much about this. Okay. I think it's the victim's costume. Thinking about it, hang on. Because warned at the time of shooting, the gunpowder burn is proof he was shot. Remember they brought that up a minute ago? I think that's it. Let's see. Victim's costume. Let's try that. Let us take another good look at the costume the victim was wearing. Then I believe you will see why I insist he was not shot at the stadium. This is the part of the costume that proves it. The point blank. The burn around this bullet hole was made when the victim was shot at point blank range. Ah, so then you mean the murder Miss Oldblag saw at the stadium really was... Yes. She saw two people, but they were separated by a distance. If the victim was indeed shot from below the stage, there shouldn't be a gunpowder burn. Ugh.
Look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants Prosecutor. Since you seem to know all the answers, why not tell us where the real crime scene is then?
Lance set me up to look like Mr. Deacon back at the hideout. If that's the case, then the murder must have happened prior to that. And the location where Lance and the victim were at just before I was imprisoned was... The mirror, right? Yeah, the mirror. I've got it. I know the real scene of the murder. The real location in which Mr. Deacon was killed is the haunted house. Because of the mirror fragment. I think it's not unreasonable to assume the murder took place in the haunted house.
The haunted house?
Yes, and I have proof that it is highly likely that the victim was killed there. What proves that the real scene of the crime was the haunted house? The mirror fragments. These were inside the costume the victim was wearing. They're fragments of a mirror.
A mirror? And what does that have to do with anything?
Indeed. You don't exactly expect to find pieces of a mirror inside a costume. Yeah, that's actually pretty dangerous. However, there is one place I can think of where there is a plethora of mirror fragments. And that is the haunted house. Lance Amano, I propose that you killed Mr. Deacon with the revolver in the haunted house. After that, you stole the Blue Badger Mobile to move his body to the Wild Wild West area. The timing of when the Blue Badger Mobile was stolen confirms this is fact.
Miles, my boy, say no more!
I'm sorry, Mr. Amano, but I cannot do that.
Be quiet! Yes, please do something. Stop that boy from speaking any more nonsense. Ernest Amano, correct? I meant you. Now, be quiet, Gramps. How dare you? I don't need words. The only thing I require is evidence. Decisive evidence. And to call these mirror bits decisive is a bit too presumptuous, Mr. Prosecutor. What? Sheena, wasn't there a mirror in the kidnapper's hideout?
Yes, there was a mirror there. A mirror that's for the haunted house.
You see, isn't it possible the fragments got into the costume there?
But Agent Long, there were no fragments on the floor, so the probability is very low.
Probability? Lengchi says, on Truth Path, the word probability does not exist. The only thing that does is definitive proof. The question, Mr. Prosecutor, is, do you have the definitive proof you need?
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, do you? Do I have solid evidence that proves the murder took place at the haunted house? The answer is no.
See? So since you don't have any, shut up.
I don't have the evidence yet, but I'm certain the murder occurred around the time I turned the ransom over. At that time, the only people at the haunted house besides myself were Lance and Mr. Deacon. If I can prove that the murder took place at the haunted house, then I can prove Lance's guilt in connection to the murder.
What now, Mr. Edgeworth?
Agent Long, I have a special request.
Yeah?
I'd like to prove to you that the scene of the crime was indeed the haunted house.
Why in the world are you asking the werewolf for permission?
Because I don't really have a choice if I want to find the truth.
All right, permission granted, but you're not to touch a single thing, got it?
That won't be a problem. All that's important to me is that the truth be brought to light. It doesn't matter by who or how it's done, as long as it is.
Sheena,
I'm here.
put in the paperwork for the authorization immediately.
Understood. I'll go get the Gatewater Group's approval.
Who was that? No. Let's hold on for a sec. There is no need to obtain approval.
Mr. Amano?
Agent Long, if you would please take a look at this. What is this, Sheena?
It's the deed to the haunted house.
The deed? Read it out loud.
Gatewater Land Inc. hereby bequeaths the property known as the haunted house to Mr. Amano for the lump sum of $1 million paid in full in cash.
What? Oh, as you can see, I am now the legal owner of the haunted house.
Are you kidding? When did you...
I ran into the owner of the park earlier, and we made the deal almost immediately. How quickly things move when you can prepare $1 million in the blink of an eye. That $1 million you paid, don't tell me it was... Oh, that's right. This disgusting suitcase belongs to you, doesn't it? I don't have any more use for it, so you may have it back now. You used the ransom money? My Lance is a good boy. He even apologized for the kidnapping a bit earlier. So I do believe that I will forgive him. After all, he did return the ransom money. That's the way things are. So if you would please discuss things with me from now on. Discuss? What is there to discuss? Why, permission to enter the haunted house, of course.
While we were busy listening to Lance's story, Mr. Amano was out there preempting us.
Permission to search the haunted house is denied. End of discussion. Agent Long, I want you to arrest that girl. And Miles, you should hurry on home now, my boy, before I really lose my temper. Ugh.
Mr. Amano definitely has the deck stacked in his favor here. What should I do? If I leave it like this, the truth will be lost forever. Uh-oh. To be continued, yeah. This is getting rough. Alright. Save your progress? Yes. Absolutely. We're gonna save our progress. Alright. March 13th, 4:27 p.m. Gatewater Land Main Gate. Let me take a real quick break, and then I will be right back.
Alright, I'm back. Here we go. If I can't get permission to investigate the crime scene, then the truth will be lost.
Hold it! Hold it! Hold it!
Okay.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing spacing out? Have you forgotten? There's only one thing you should do at a time like this.
And what is that?
When the people are in a bind, the hero of justice appears to save the day. Look, you just leave it to me. For I am Kay Faraday, the second of the great Yatagarasu.
But I thought you were a thief, not a hero.
The Yatagarasu is noble and is always a thief of justice.
That's... Of course. If we have enough information, I can recreate the inside of the haunted house with this. Plus, if we then factor in everyone's testimony, you can recreate exactly what happened when I dropped off the ransom money. We may be able to figure out some new information through this. It's worth a try. Agent Long?
Ah, so you want to use your little toy? Be my guest.
Okay, hang on. You're all about to witness the true power of a real, modern-day Robin Hood.
Detective Gumshoe, is there a copy of the haunted house's blueprint among the police's reference documents?
Yes, sir. We got it just in case we needed it for the kidnapping case.
All right, I'll input the haunted house data then.
Nice. So we get...
What is this? Where are we?
It's like we're inside the haunted house. Even if we can't inspect the real location itself, the path to the truth slumbers here. If I can successfully navigate my way using logic, I'll ultimately arrive at the truth. Now then, I believe I'm ready to investigate the crime scene.
Okay, what should I recreate first?
You haven't figured it out yet?
Heh, maybe I have and maybe I haven't. But I'm gonna make you do all the hard work.
Very well. I'd like to inspect the moment in which I was ambushed by my abductor. The two of them were definitely in this place at that time. If I can verify that, it may provide me with a new lead. I had just come out into the hallway after leaving the money inside the dining room. At that time, I saw a badger slumped over on the floor at the end of the hall.
Eh? What was a badger doing all the way down there?
I also thought it strange. However, I thought that maybe it was simply a mannequin that was set there for atmosphere.
Do you know which badger it was?
No, it was too dark to tell. All I saw was its silhouette.
In that case, I guess I'll just program a badger silhouette in for now. Okay, programming complete.
Alright, we got a badger in the corner. And then I started walking towards the exit.
And that's when you were struck from behind, right?
Yes.
But that's odd. The hallway is a dead end. Where did your assailant come from?
There's only one location I can think of. I believe my assailant was lying in wait here. I'm gonna save because we're like real low on our evidence points. It was the badger, right? That doll I saw wasn't really a doll. It was, in fact, a costume kidnapper.
Oh, so he first used the costume as the perfect camouflage to blend in with the rest of the house.
Precisely. He waited until I had made the drop-off and was about to leave. Then, just as he saw me take a step towards the exit, he stood and launched his attack. I can think of no better hiding place than this.
Hey, not bad. I'm beginning to think I should steal this tactic for myself.
Just don't use it to do anything criminal, okay? Alright, so we got that. Yep. Well, Lance?
What are you asking me for?
As one of the kidnappers, I figured I should give you the chance to confess first.
I was one of the kidnappers, but I don't know anything. I did come up to the haunted house, but I never set foot inside. I left Oliver in charge of picking up the ransom money.
He didn't set foot inside. Is he telling the truth, or is this another lie? Alright then, you're claiming that it was Mr. Deacon who assaulted me?
Yes, I'm sure it was him. Okay, inputting the new info now. Mr. Deacon was the bad badger, right? Since the bad badger has a gun attached to its right hand, I'll have to change it so the weapon is in its left hand.
Well, we know, the audience, know that it was the proto-badger in the opening cutscene that hit him. Now to verify the facts of this recreation. Alright, here we go. Haunted house. Well, first, there's a problem because... Are there any broken mirrors? There are none. So why are there mirror shards here? Hang on. When you take a look around, it almost feels more like a house of mirrors. Indeed. Who has ever heard of this many mirrors inside of a haunted house before? Well, at least we know this is the real crime scene thanks to those mirror shards. Okay. But why aren't the mirrors... Hey, wait, those shards. There's something different about them. Oh. The ones we found earlier are thicker than the shards from those mirrors on the wall. And look, there's some sort of design on the back, too. The pieces from that costume are certainly different from the other mirrors. What does this mean? Could it be that our pieces are not pieces of these mirrors? Ah, interesting. What could they be actually too, then? That's an interesting question. What about... Can we look at the... let's look at the badger over here. I imagine this is how he snuck up on you. That gadget of yours can even replicate people's movements. Well, it's used to plan heists, so of course it's got to be able to simulate the police. It's definitely very well made. Perhaps too well made. Maybe I should confiscate it after the investigation. Maybe. We don't have enough to logic. Can we talk to Kay? Let's see. What is it? Oh, is it the sword? Pieces of a set of armor in a pile here. Why do you think they almost always have sets of armor inside haunted houses? I suppose this sort of interior design is meant to bring out a sense of the abnormality. Why do all your explanations have to be so hard to understand, Mr. Edgeworth? Now try explaining it again, but this time so that even a thief like me can get it. That may prove to be a most difficult task. Oh, we got over here. I remember glancing over and seeing this figure sitting here as I left the dining room. So I guess I got it spot on when I put it here in my recreation. I didn't take a good look, but I'm sure that there was a badger here. Yeah, we know that. Alright. Miss Pops, by my hand, I will prove your innocence in the murder of Mr. Deacon. Therefore, please don't fret. It will soon be over. Do you not trust me? That is... Your face is all beet red, Miss Pops. No, I can't. I have Lance. Lolly, don't tell me that you like that guy more than me. That's... Oh, why am I so pathetic? I'm so easily swayed by even a single glance. What exactly is she going on about? I think you have another guilty person on your hands, Mr. Edgeworth. Charmed by Edgeworth's edgeworthiness. Gumshoe.
I can't believe what I'm seeing, sir! The space that I'm standing in, it's like out of some crazy dream!
Except that it isn't a dream. This is something Kay's gadget.
No, wait! This is exactly like a dream, sir! I've never been so impressed! It's a miracle!
Someone sure is easily impressed. Hey, I'm so glad you like it.
Oh, so this is a product of your gadget? Now I wish I had one too!
Well, once this is over, I'll let you play with it for a bit if you want.
You do that for me, pal? Thanks! Alright, let's wrap up this case already.
It's times like these that I wonder if they understand the seriousness of the situation. What about Long? You got anything to say? Thanks for letting us use, little thief.
Long Z says, reject not those who seek the truth. So keep in mind, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing this for the truth.
Don't worry, I understand. We may have different methods, but our wish is the same. And then what about you? So have you noticed anything worthwhile? I have no obligation to talk with you. Well, I'm fine with just Little Thief and solving this case. That toy, it's very well made. Haha, that's because it's the heart of the noble thief, Yaragarasu! Okay, that may not be something you want to advertise to everyone.
So, Sheena, what exactly is the source of this extra-dimensional-like space?
I believe this is nothing more than a projection from that girl's toy.
So it's all an illusion, right?
Yes. Hey, don't treat this like some sort of silly light show. It's a replica of myself. You were totally oblivious to what was behind you, huh? Yes, I suppose I am also to blame for what happened to me. It was incredibly dark, which is all the more reason I should have been more alert. I vow to never be caught by surprise again. Yeah. What about you, Mr. Buying the crime scene?
Miles, my boy, what is the meaning of all this? Do you plan to pay me back for all I've done for you with the conviction of my son?
I have not forgotten my debt to you, however. Your son's crimes are a separate matter. Further, I can't ignore the truth when it's right before me.
You will regret this, I promise you that.
No matter the outcome, I never regret the choices I make. What about you? You can lie all you want, but it will all be for naught, Lance. As soon as I expose the truth, you will be placed under arrest. How can you do this? After all that my dad has done for you. What your father has done for me is unrelated to the charges you face now. Yeah, unbelievable. You know, you kind of sound like a bully right now, Mr. Edgeworth. If I'm not serious about this, he will never understand the true gravity of his crimes. I will not allow him to remain a child forever. Now you sound like a dad. Yeah, seriously. Dad Edgeworth. Oh boy. You didn't recreate the weapon. Well, I can't exactly recreate something I know nothing about. So tell me, what were you hit with? The attack came from behind, so I have no idea, but I doubt it was someone's bare hands. Okay, then where were you hit? I was hit on the right side of my head, just above my temple. There was a bit of blood, but it wasn't anything serious. Ouch, sounds painful. Why are you smirking like that when you say it? It's just your imagination. Now, let's see. I wonder if there's anything in the hallway that could have been used as a weapon. I'm looking for something the culprit could have used to hit you with. Well, the sword. I have it. There was indeed one such object lying here in this hallway. A prop sword. This was, hey, did you remember or pay attention to the opening cutscene? Question. Yeah, stop bullying the murderer, Edgeworth. Are you talking about this thing here? Yes, although we did find it at the kidnapper's hideout. Wait, yes, it's possible that the culprit took it with him after using it on me. To leave no evidence behind, right? Correct. It may be worth a more thorough examination yet. Okay, so what test do you want to run on this sword? Dusting it for prints, or no, testing it with luminol. The culprit was wearing a costume at the time, so a fingerprint analysis is useless. Let's run a luminol test. It's possible that some of my blood found its way onto this. Agent Long, may I ask for your cooperation in this matter?
Like I have a choice. Sheena, call the lab, boys.
Understood. Except for a dab on the left side, it would appear that the blade is spotless. So it must have been the left side of the prop sword that hit you then, right? All right. Okay, I'll update the recreation with this new piece of info. Nice. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Well, hang on a second. He's got a gun in his hand? You know, the Bad Badger is pretty bad-looking when you see him up close. Well, what did you expect from a character named the Bad Badger? And those sunglasses, wearing them in the dark makes him seem extra bad. Now I'm lost. Which meaning of bad does she really mean? Is this the 90s version of bad, like the Power Glove? What about the sword? And in the next instant, this badger will swing his left arm, complete with weapon in hand. Yes, to club me with the left side of the prop sword. Shall I recreate the moment of impact? I want to see the pained expression on your face. It's just fine the way it is. Wait, maybe not. Is it just my imagination, or is something not quite right? Yeah. Hang on. Because if it was the other guy, he was right-handed. It's me. I have to say, it's rather embarrassing to see myself like this. Oh, so what were you thinking about at the time? I don't recall, but I would guess that I was thinking about the kidnapping. Really? Because I don't think so at all. Your face practically screams, I'm about to be conked over the head! If I had known that at the time, do you think I would have let myself be hit? Yeah. Let's deduce. And Is this spot somehow connected into the evidence I hold? Is it the fact that Colin was left-handed? According to this document, the victim was right-handed. Uh-huh. I guess I should change which hand is holding the weapon then.
Hold on, you two. You didn't think I was going to ignore something like that, did you?
What are you talking about? Look, no interrupting when I'm about to have a little fun.
Even if you changed your recreation, you'd only be wasting your time. It's not possible for that thing to hold something in its right hand, you know.
But Mr. Edgeworth's logic is...
What's that thing called? The bad badger? Just take another good look at its right hand.
Oh, I forgot the weapon isn't in its right hand because there's already a gun in it. Precisely.
You knew that already?
Yes, and I also know that the badger was holding the weapon in his right hand.
Are you aware of what's coming out of your mouth? You just contradicted yourself.
I have evidence, of course, proof that the culprit held the sword in his right hand.
Sounds interesting. All right then, show me this evidence.
This piece proves that the culprit held the weapon in his right hand when he struck. Well, is it? The sword? Because the blood... Hang on a second. So, the blood is on... Yeah. If it was in the left hand, it would have been on the right side. But it's on the left side. So, let's present the broken prop sword. The answer is the weapon itself. Except for a bit on the left side, this prop sword is absolutely spotless. However, if the culprit had used his left hand, the blood would be on the opposite side. But the replica Bad Badger isn't holding the sword in his right hand. I don't know what's going on anymore. Giving up already? It's simple. If he can't hold the sword in his left or his right hand, then the one who struck me could not have been the Bad Badger. Are you paying attention, Lance? Mr. Deacon could not have been the one who struck me, which leaves only you as our primary suspect. Fine, it was me. I hit you. It appears that you lied to me yet again, but see how quickly they catch up to you, Lance. Wait, isn't Lance left-handed? Ah, yes, but that's what makes this deception all the more interesting. He used his right hand to make it look like Mr. Deacon had been the one to strike me. Well, you see, firing a gun with one's non-dominant hand is difficult, but that level of dexterity isn't required to swing a prop sword. Okay, please input this new data. The one who hit me from behind was Lance. Or should I say, the Proto-Badger. You got it. Here I go. Yeah, now it's correct. Now we have a faithful recreation of the situation around the attack on me. Alright, all we have to do is examine this new recreation and... And what exactly is so funny, Agent Long?
That amusing little gadget. It sure packs a punch, right, Sheena?
Yes, it was all I could do to hold my laughter in. Hey, don't make fun of little thief, you mean old werewolf. He and Mr. Edgeworth bring out the best in each other.
You've had your little fun, but now it's my turn. I've sat quietly by listening, but the crude conclusions you two keep spewing don't whet this wolf's appetite.
Huh?
There's no guarantee that your toy will always show the real situation at any given time. All it displays is whatever information you put in there, right?
Well, when you put it that way...
Your suppositions are wrong. It's not your fault, so I'm not going to let you in on this. There is a trick to this haunted house.
And what may that be exactly?
A trick beyond what your tiny imaginations can produce. Sheena!
Here you are.
Now then, what you missed, girlie, is written right here in this pamphlet. The 7 Wonders of the Haunted House, the Disappearing Badger.
Oh, Edgeworth said that. What is this?
I'd say that someone around here is fond of theatrics. And as you can see, they set a doll down at the end of this hallway for that purpose. Basically, the blue badger you saw was just a stupid doll.
Oh. Interesting.
How can this be? Guess that throws your whole theory about it being your attacker right out the window.
Ugh. But that can't be right. Maybe the culprit hid the doll somewhere. And then he laid down and pretended to be it instead.
If the criminal couldn't even hide himself in the hallway, how could he hide a giant doll? Do you get it now? Thanks to your presumptions, your logic started off weak and led you to the completely wrong conclusion. Ugh. Now get off your high horse!
Mr. Edgeworth.
Okay, I wonder if you could please input the new information for me.
Huh? You don't know when to quit, do you?
I can't quit. Not until I can declare that I've found the truth. Agent Long, for the additional information, you have my thanks.
There you go again. Well, see if I care.
Okay, I'm updating the recreation now. This looks really weird. Look at how it changes from the blue badger into the proto badger all of a sudden.
If the slumped-over badger was just a doll, where was my attacker hiding?
Well, that's what we're gonna find out, right? So come on, Mr. Edgeworth, let's go.
Yes, let's. This recreation can't be right, which means there must be a contradiction somewhere. Well, let's go look. This is where the proto-badger shows up in our recreation. Yes, now the question is, where did he come from?
Yeah, but there's no place to hide in our current model.
There must be inconsistencies somewhere. Over there, and then what? And especially just looking nook and cranny, right? Look. What do we got? This blue badger is just dull for use in this haunted house.
I bet the one who killed this blue badger was the bad badger, right?
According to the Blue Badger Bible, it says that they are each other's worst enemy.
All because one's an ally of justice and the other's a vile criminal with a gun?
Perhaps they were just as destined to battle each other, much like the Steel Samurai and the Evil Magistrate.
Of course he would think like that.
I love it. Is there anything... Let's see... Let's see. So, if there's a badger here, let's look around, okay? I don't think we have enough yet. What logic do we have? Oh yes, let's talk to you, Kay.
Okay, how is, Little Thief? Totally fine in recreating the crime scene. All that's left is more info. But you know, I can't believe I'm replicating a haunted house. And that we're talking about the fate of $1 million. Pretty exciting stuff.
I can't say I understand what is so exciting about recreating a crime scene. In any case, I believe that it is very probable that the murder occurred at this place. And if I can prove that, then we will finally arrive at the truth.
Yeah, so what are you waiting for? Let's get investigating.
Recreation. So you believe that this gadget will provide us with the proof we need?
Yeah, of course. Pretty neat, huh? By inputting info like this, you can recreate the crime scene exactly as it was. Although Little Thief was originally intended to be a training sim for heists.
A training sim for thievery? I don't believe I can turn a deaf ear to that, Kay.
Nah, it's for practice. Practice. It's not like I've actually stolen anything yet. Besides, we're in the middle of an investigation, so stop nitpicking.
Even if it is just practice, I can't exactly endorse the act of stealing. Although admittedly, this device is rather useful in an investigation. Using Little Thief. So how am I supposed to use this to aid my investigation?
Oh, that's right. I guess I should explain how to use it, huh? Objects outlined in yellow are things that are not present in our time, but were in the past. Things outlined in the dotted line are things that exist now, but didn't in the past.
I see.
You can examine and interact with replicated people and objects as you normally do. You can even present evidence whenever you find an inconsistency. Oh, and be sure to point out mistakes in the recreation with evidence, too.
Very well. Let's continue with the investigation.
If there's something you don't get about Little Thief, feel free to ask any time, okay?
All right. So we've already looked at the blue badger. Proto badger. Let's look at this proto badger. It's the proto badger who struck me. I suppose I should really say that it was Lance. Oh, were you gonna get him back? I need not resort to violence when the lawsuit I plan to bring to court will suffice. Really? Because I would totally have decked him right back. If someone steals from me, I steal something from them. If I get hit, I hit back. If I get paid, I return the money. That's the secret to how a great thief works. Her third statement doesn't seem to be of much benefit to her survival. Alright, so we've talked to everybody. Yeah. We've looked at everything. Okay, we knew the sword got pulled out, so that's out. The sword's there. So there is a problem with the blue badger over here, right? Let's see. And it wants us to deduce. So hang on. We're gonna save again, because again, we're kind of low on our evidence HP, for lack of a better term. And let's take a look. Deduce. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Okay, what is weird about this badger? Let's see. Okay, hang on. I mean, that looks like the blue badger, right? Let's see. Yeah, yeah. So what is this? The 7 Wonders of the Haunted House, the Disappearing Badger. Seeing is believing. Okay. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on a second. Oh, I just noticed his belt. So his belt starts at his right shoulder and goes down to his left hip. From, well, our right to his left. To our right to our left, facing him, right? So it starts at his left shoulder, goes down to his right hip. Let's look at this real quick. That badger, facing the same direction, starts at his right to his left. Is it a mirror? Is there like a mirror thing going on? Oh, and that would explain the mirror shards. There's a design on the back. Is it a two-way mirror? Oh, that's interesting. Well, what do we present? The Gatewater or the Blue Badger? Let's try the Blue Badger Bible. Hold on a second here. There's something wrong with this Blue Badger. Huh? Like what? The way the belt is on him is opposite of how it should be. Did you make a mistake? That can't be. I inputted the image data exactly as it is in the pamphlet. So then why is the Blue Badger dressed up in reverse? Aha! Let's see. The Blue Badger in the pamphlet photo is in reverse to the regular Blue Badger. But why? There must be some sort of explanation. It's the mirror. It's a mirror. Alright, give me logic. Mirror shards. Like a mirror house haunted house hybrids. This place is full of mirror. Like a mirror house haunted house hybrid. Okay, that's a really awkward sentence. The Blue Badger in the pamphlet is wearing his belt in the reverse direction. So it's mirrors. They do it with mirrors. Hey, do you remember what you said earlier? What I said earlier about what? About how this building might as well have been a house of mirrors. A house of mirrors? Oh, that would explain the reversed or mirror image. Yes, this Blue Badger might be nothing more than the reflected image of a real one. Then, was the Blue Badger you saw just a reflection? When I looked down this hall, I thought it was perfectly straight. However, if there was a mirror... Oh, then it would actually form an L shape, right? Precisely. I was deceived. The hallway was almost pitch black, and there was a beam in the way that obstructed my view of the other hallway. Wait, but why build this place like that? It sounds pretty pointless to me. Okay, this house is just another attraction at an amusement park. They created a mirror wall for a very specific purpose, one I can point out to you. This was the reason they built a mirror wall. It's, for the Blue Badger thing, right? As it's written in the pamphlet, the main draw of this attraction is the mystery of the disappearing badger. You mean they built the mirror for that trick alone? But you said you saw the badger, so it was definitely still there. That was true at the time. However, doing this allows someone to make the blue badger disappear in a flash. Move the mirror wall, move the blue badger. Yeah. All they would have to do is move the blue badger. But do you think someone could really do that? Well, it's a rather expensive prop, so perhaps it isn't possible. Doesn't that kind of ruin the whole point to having the mirror in the first place?
I suppose it does.
Mr. Edgeworth, come on, you can do better than this. All right, once more. Doing this allows someone to make the blue badger disappear in a flash. Move the mirror wall, right? Yeah. To remove a reflected image, simply move the mirror. First, the mirror was constructed so that it could be moved. Then, beyond where the mirror was, an empty hallway had to be created. Oh, so when they wanted people to see the blue badger, they would open the mirror. And when they wanted to hide it, they simply had to close it again. This explains why the other side of these fragments have a design on them. Ah, and if the pattern is the same as the other walls in this hallway, then when the mirror is closed, it would blend in with the rest of the walls. This is the mirror trick that the haunted house employs. And this also proves the existence of a hiding place for the culprit. Huh? How so? Think about it, Kay. There was a place that was outside of my field of vision. The culprit kept out of sight by hiding here. The duh, right there. There was a very large blind spot one could not see beyond, and it was here. If my assailant hid on the other side of the movable mirror, then you wouldn't be able to stop him. He didn't even need anything to do. He didn't even need to do anything to the blue badger doll. Exactly. All he had to do was wait for me on the other side of the mirror. Wait, hold on. I just thought of something. Yes? Well, shouldn't the mirror wall be broken right now in reality? Since we have a few shards of it, we can probably assume it is. Yes, it most definitely is broken. The question is, when was it broken? Since we found these inside the victim's costume, that would mean that the victim was there when the mirror was broken. Wait, that sound. Leave the money and go, now. Oh, and he heard the crash, yeah. That sound I heard was most definitely the sound of a mirror breaking. Okay, I'd like you to input some new information. Ah, don't scare me like that. Sorry, but I need you to recreate something for me. Sure, whatever you need. So what do you need anyway? If you could first recreate this hallway just before I entered the dining room. You got it! Alright. Now this. I believe this is how it was right before I entered the dining room. Although at the time, I thought it was but a single straight hallway. And then I went inside. It was around then that I heard the sound of a mirror shattering. You heard what? Then... Yes, I believe it was then that the mirror was broken. Okay, so then when you stepped outside into the hallway again, the mirror wall should no longer exist. Okay, please recreate that. Got it. Okay. Wait, but with the mirror gone, the culprit lost his hiding spot. So where did he go in his proto-badger suit, Mr. Edgeworth? Huh, that's easy enough. With the mirror gone, he simply hid himself in the branch hallway. I think this about wraps it up. Looks like we finally solved everything. No, not yet. An even larger contradiction has now reared its head. Huh? Perhaps you did not notice. But this recreation contains a very troubling inconsistency. The inconsistency between what I saw and the recreation lies... well, wouldn't there be a dead body there, right? Is it this? Okay, take a good look at the end of the hall. Oh, there's no blue badger there. Exactly, the blue badger that I saw in reality is not here. This is the final point on this long chain of logic. The last remaining contradiction. Alright. So let me get this straight. When you came out of the dining room, you saw a badger, right? And that is precisely where the final contradiction lies. Something that shouldn't exist was there before me. Who or what do you suppose it was? I believe this is the real identity of our mystery badger. Was it Deacon? Was it his was it him? Was it, yeah, the bad badger? Let's see. The badger I saw was in actuality the dead victim's body. Ugh. Yeah.
What?
Agent Long, the entirety of my complete logic is my final, decisive piece of evidence. The murder happened in the hallway of the haunted house at the time of the drop-off. And you can consider the moment I heard the mirror breaking to be the real time of death for Mr. Deacon.
No!
Maybe it was due to their fighting, or perhaps it was the life-shattering bullet. But no matter what the cause was, the hallway mirror wall was broken.
Ha! You were in the house at the time, right? Are you telling me that you missed the sound of a gunshot?
There were a variety of sound effects playing at the time, all for the theatrics, I assume. The gunshot must have blended right in.
Ugh!
Now then, I'd like you to recall something for me. Who was it that was with the victim at the haunted house? Who was the one who had the opportunity to rob the victim of his gun and use it on him?
It was you, Lance Amano.
I'm sorry! Okay. It's not like I had a choice. Oliver turned on me all of a sudden. He snapped and turned violent right after I hung up with you. He shoved me to the ground and straddled me. I fought back as hard as I could, grabbed his gun, and I shot him. The bullet must have went through his body and shattered the mirror. If I hadn't taken his gun and shot him first, I would have been the one you found. He's a hardened criminal. He escaped from jail.
See? That's justified self-defense. My boy was only trying to protect himself.
That remains to be seen, and will have to be resolved in court. Agent Long, I leave the rest to you.
As if you were the one in charge around here. Guys, arrest these two and get them out of my sight. Wait, I had nothing to do with the murder. The only person you should be arresting is Lance.
Dad! He fainted.
Sorry, but you're not slipping away that easily, Mr. Ernest Amano. You tampered with the evidence that you could cover for your son. What a great dad you are, willing to risk it all. Truly touching. Ugh. By the way, do you know why I'm really here? And how could I possibly know the answer to such an asinine question? You wound me. I came all this way from across the sea just to see you, you know? You came to see me?
What's that supposed to mean?
I have a few things to ask you, Mr. Amano, about a case from 10 years ago.
A case from 10 years ago?
Oh, what's the name that you use here for that case? Sheena?
It's known as the KG-8 incident.
Huh.
The KG-8 incident?
Oh, so you remember it? Good. Then you'll recall that the trigger in that case was the Amano Group scandal. Specifically, the charge of an internal smuggling ring.
Smuggling? There's that word again.
At the time, the person that was arrested as the ringleader was Mr. Amano's very own secretary, Mr. Colin Deveray.
Father!
Even though you pushed the crime onto your then-secretary, Mr. Deveray, I always suspected that you were involved with the smuggling ring, Mr. Amano. Mr. Deveray was arrested in place of you, which is why when he broke out, you hid him from the police. Right? You hid him in exchange for his silence on your little dirty secret. Now. Please calm down. I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. Ha! Pretend to be ignorant all you want. We're taking you down to the precinct anyway for a nice long chat.
Who's this?
What the? Who the heck was that?
I'll take him down to the precinct if you don't mind.
And who the heck are you?
Hey, we know who that is.
I'm Jack Portsman, and I'm the prosecutor in charge of this case.
Oh, Jack, thanks goodness you're here. Don't jerk me around. This is an Interpol case, so keep your paws off of my suspect.
Sorry, but I can't comply. I've got the backing of the prosecutor's office. See, in this country, we prosecutors work with the police to bring cases to court. So if you could please cooperate with me here, that'd be great. Now, how about a handshake to seal the deal?
Sorry, but I hate prosecutors. The whole lot of you. Guys, arrest the 2 suspects. Sir. Oh, I almost forgot. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, is it? I'd like to thank you.
Thank me.
Yeah, for working so hard to fulfill my goal.
Hey, is that any way to thank someone? And what the heck is that supposed to mean?
You were so relentless with Lance that you forced Ernest to tamper with the evidence. Thanks to that, I finally had a legitimate reason to arrest him. So how does it feel to bite the hand that feeds you?
The hand that feeds me? I'm not sure I follow.
Ha! It's no use pretending with me. You're the one, right? You're the corrupt prosecutor that's working for Mr. Romano and the smuggling ring, right?
No, I would never do such a thing.
What the heck? Our intel's never wrong. In your prosecutor's office, there is definitely someone working with the ring.
Ah, so Agent Long suspected my relation to Mr. Romano. That must be the real reason behind his antagonistic attitude.
On top of that, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? Huh? There were non-stop rumors flying around about forged evidence with that guy. You're not twisting the truth behind those closed courtroom doors too, are you?
The courtroom is a place where the truth is revealed.
Well, don't worry. It's not only you. The whole lot of you can't be trusted. A prosecutor who never lost in 40 years? Every defendant must be found guilty? Fueled by that kind of thinking, is it any wonder that courts produce nothing but falsities and lies?
It would seem that his disdain extends beyond just me. Prosecutors, the courts. Why is this man so angry with us all?
Rest assured, the next time we meet, I won't be so forgiving. So don't you forget it!
Please, wait. Agent Sheena, why does Agent Lang hate all prosecutors so? Long is the head of the long-honored House of Long in Zhengfa. The heads of all police-related divisions in that country were of Long blood. Were? What do you mean by that? Aren't they still? They were revered, but that was long ago. They don't hold that sort of sway anymore. And it was all because of the courts. How can that be? A prosecutor once withheld and tampered with the evidence one of the Long detectives found. That evidence's purity was tarnished and cost the Long family its honor and trust. But not all prosecutors are like that. Even so, Long will never respect the court again, or any prosecutor. So Agent Long is a man who hates all courts and is unwilling to forgive prosecutors. Man, what a piece of work that guy is. Come on, Jim. We'd better catch up.
Yeah.
We've still got to deliver that thing to the old man, after all. Detective Gumshoe, I believe it's time we wrapped up and headed out ourselves.
Yeah, are you going home, Mr. Edgeworth?
No, I've done nothing but be entangled in one mess after another since my return. If it's all right with you, can you drop me off at my office?
No problem, sir.
Excuse me.
Yes? What is it?
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's okay. No need to thank me, pal. Just doing my job as a detective.
I guess I was fooled pretty badly by Lance. Oh, cruel fate. What's a woman to do when she's been hurt by the one she loves? And to think I never realized my father was right there. I never said anything to him. I knew it.
I'm a failure! Ah, there she goes again, talking to herself. Miss Pops, I wonder if you know why your father participated in the kidnapping. No, I have no idea. Your father died while he was trying to stop Lance, which means that from the beginning he had no interest in the staged self-abduction. Wait, then why did he... I believe it was because of your presence, Miss Pops. Me? Lance realized that the two of you were related, which is why he used you as a hostage to coerce Mr. Devray into cooperating. Father? As a felon, he could not tell you of his real relation to you. However, as the Amano family butler, at the very least, he was able to watch over you. It was all he could do, but that was the shape of his overflowing love for you. Go on, speak your mind.
That is... Thank you very much.
You're welcome, although there's no need to thank me.
No, Lauren, stop. I mean, this man's so much older than you.
Oh boy. Looks like you've completely stolen her away, Mr. Edgeworth.
Way to go, sir!
Your technique is way beyond the level of a great thief. What are you going on about now? Wow. Your deducing skills may be sound, but you have no street smarts.
That's Mr. Edgeworth for you!
Yeah, I mean, he still hasn't figured out who I am at all.
Huh?
If you haven't remembered in all this time, I guess I'm just gonna have to say it. This isn't the first time we've met, you know.
What do you mean, pal? Mr. Edgeworth? How do you know this girl?
Looks like you totally forgot me too, Gummy.
Gummy?
Here, maybe this will jog your memories. I promised I'd return this to you one day, remember? That single piece of cloth took me back far into my past. To that fateful day 7 years ago, when I first met the then child, Kay. And Detective Gumshoe. The end. All right. Kidnapped Turnabout is done. Alrighty. So next time, we're going to be doing Turnabout Reminiscence. And yes, we are going 7 years into the past. So, the very early days of Edgeworth being a prosecutor-ish person. So there we go. I'm going to call it here for tonight, and then next week we will pick it up again. So see you then.